You think you know your own body, right? I mean, we've been studying human anatomy for centuries. But what if I told you that that map is still being drawn? That there are entire continents hiding right under our skin? Yeah, that number of organs you memorized in biology class? It might just be wrong. See, we're living in this absolutely incredible age of discovery where some of the most fundamental ideas about our own bodies are being completely turned on their head.
All right, first up, the unfinished map. Let's talk about why our bodies are still basically uncharted territory.
I know, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's totally true. The most basic blueprint of human life, something we all thought was settled science ages ago, is getting a massive rewrite. And the wildest part? It's happening right now.
Okay, section 2 is all about hidden organs and cells. We're going to chart some of this new territory, from huge structures all the way down to tiny, microscopic cells.
So just imagine this for a second. A structure so vast, so widespread, that it's found throughout your entire body. And for hundreds of years, every single anatomist just missed it.
I mean, it was hiding in plain sight. Surgeons have been cutting right through it for decades. Pathologists would see its traces on their slides and were literally taught to ignore them. They just wrote it off as a mistake, a crack or an artifact from preparing the tissue.
Well, it turns out what they were seeing wasn't an error at all. It was the collapsed remnant of this, the interstitium. It's this amazing, body-wide network of interconnected, fluid-filled spaces. And the reason it was missed for so long? It's actually pretty simple. When scientists prep tissue for a microscope, they drain out all the fluid. And when they do that, this whole structure just pancakes down, creating those cracks they were always told to ignore.
So, okay, why is this a big deal? Well, you can think of the interstitium as a kind of biological superhighway. It's where our lymph comes from, which is totally vital for our immune system. But here's the catch. Because it connects everything, it can also be an easy route for cancer cells to spread. So understanding this hidden network, it's opening up completely new ways to think about everything from inflammation to why our skin wrinkles as we get older.
All right, now let's circle back to that number I threw at you at the beginning. 79.
This is the organ that officially bumped the count up to 79. It's called the mesentery. For centuries, and I mean even Leonardo da Vinci drew this thing, everyone thought it was just a bunch of separate, fragmented tissues. But researchers have now proven it's one single continuous organ. It's so official that even the famous textbook Gray's Anatomy has been updated to include it. How cool is that? And these discoveries aren't just happening at the big organ level. If we zoom way in, down to the microscopic, scientists have recently found a completely new type of cell, deep inside the tiniest passages of our lungs. They're called respiratory airways secretory cells, or RAS cells for short, and they are super important. They've got two critical jobs. First, they pump out these molecules that keep our smallest airways from collapsing in on themselves. And second, they can actually transform to repair other damaged lung tissue. They're like a built-in on-site repair crew. Okay, next section. Rewriting the body's rules. Because it's not just about finding new parts, we're also learning that we've been flat out wrong about some of the fundamental rules of how our bodies even work. Let's talk about limb regeneration. For 200 years, the central dogma, based on studying animals like salamanders, was that you absolutely positively need nerves to regrow a body part. But it turns out, for mammals like us, that's not the whole story. Recent studies in mice have shown that the real key is mechanical load, the physical force and pressure on that area. As the lead researcher, Ken Minioka, puts it, this finding directly counteracts the 2-century-old dogma. For mammals, it's not the nerve signals, but the physical stress that seems to be the trigger for regeneration. I mean, this completely changes how we might one day approach human regeneration. Now let's switch gears to movement. How does your brain actually control your body? Think about a really simple action, like, say, chopping an onion. There are a bazillion different combinations of shoulder, elbow, wrist, and finger movements you could use. This is what scientists call the degrees of freedom problem. How on earth does the brain choose the one best path out of a practically infinite number of options? The answer, it seems, is this really elegant shortcut. Instead of trying to micromanage every single muscle individually, the brain just activates what are called muscle synergies. You can think of these as pre-programmed teams of muscles that are trained to work together. So the brain only has to send one signal, like activate chopping synergy, and the whole group just executes the movement perfectly. It's a brilliant way to simplify a ridiculously complex job.
And that brings us to our final section, the future of healing. With these new maps and new rulebooks, all this knowledge is fueling one of the most exciting frontiers in medicine, healing ourselves in ways we literally never thought possible.
I mean, we are building this incredible regenerative toolkit. Just think about it for a second. Using stem cells to create brand new tissues, 3D bioprinting replacement parts for our bodies, editing our very own genes to fix diseases at their source, and even using tiny nanobots to deliver therapies at a microscopic level. It's straight out of science fiction.
But, this frontier, it has its challenges. The promise is absolutely astounding. Repairing damaged hearts, growing new skin for burn victims, replacing entire failing organs. But the path to get there means we have to navigate some really complex ethical questions, get through a ton of regulatory hurdles, find massive amounts of funding, and of course, figure out the long-term effects of these super powerful new therapies.
So yeah, the exploration of the human body it's far from over. We are just starting to scratch the surface of its deepest secrets. And as we keep redrawing this map and rewriting these rules, the biggest question isn't just what we're going to find next, but how those discoveries will ultimately redefine what it even means to be human.